Welcome to staging area. We are here at the Monster Energy Station, and we got some fans here at Unadilla. Let's hear it from you folks. Oh, yeah, we're back. We had 2 weeks off of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. I'm Jason Wygant. We're going to be joined in the TV booth this weekend by none other than the Fro, Jeff Emig. It's here for Fro. And Jason Thomas is back with us as well. You want to cheer for JT? Are we cool with that? Can we cheer? Oh, wow. Pulp fans. They like Steve.
That's some booze going on there.
Yeah, they like Steve. What about JT's cooler? Are you pumped out JT's cooler at least? All right, that cooler got more cheers. Fro, when was the first time you came to Unadilla?
1989.
You've never seen this angle before?
No, I have never been on this side of the facility. That's why I was telling these wonderful fans here, except on the track, right? But, I mean, the view from here right now is just so spectacular. We were just talking, it's such a beautiful day. Tomorrow's going to be, incredible also. Probably going to be a little bit chilly in the morning for first practice at 8 a.m., although we're going to be here well before that.
We like the view
we start
so
TV
much.
stuff. I got to be here. I got to be here at 7 in the morning tomorrow, working.
Yeah,
I'm retired.
Yes,
we don't do things at 7.
The only time Fro's ever been
at
ever been at the track that early is when he just didn't leave at night.
Yeah, just stayed.
Yeah, he just stayed. It's a beautiful view. That's why we took out the cell phones, because we actually wanted to shoot the view we have. You can see the track on the hillside, the legendary Unadilla hillsides.
The barn. What do they call it? Across the way?
Across the road?
Yeah, that was
talk about that?
No, what
the
was
hill
that?
People?
The hill people were over there.
Yeah, other side sucks. Yes, that's the part of Unadilla lore. And it's perfect because we've been celebrating 50 years of this championship, the AMA Motocross Nationals. But, man, when you talk history, Hangtown's been around a while, Redbud's been around a while, Southwick's been around a while, but I don't know if there's any track more historic in America, Jeff, than Unadilla.
Yeah, I mean,
they agree.
Because it's hosted, pro motocross events, World Grand Prix, World Championship events, Motocross of Nations, things like that. And just so much has happened here. So many, interesting moments in racing, Johnny O'Mara running out of gas on the last lap, while he's leading the race.
Who won that one, guys? All right, we got one. Oh, come on. I cannot believe we're at that point. We had one person say Hannah won that one. And also part of the lore of the track is that it's not a track that you just get to ride on all the time. So, Jeff, I'm sure when you were a kid thinking about it, you couldn't race amateur day here or anything. So, 89, that was a pro race? First shot at it?
Yeah, 89. I think so. I was amateur that year, but I dipped into a couple of pro motocross events, and this was one of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember riding here for one of the Grand Prix events, and you'd go out for the very first practice, and the grass was as high as your handlebars.
Yeah.
Right? And so there were blades of this rye grass or whatever they call it. It's like you're riding through the grass and cutting grooves, paths into the track. And then as the weekend would go on, that path would kind of widen out, but it had all that mulchy, stuff in the soil. It was just incredible,
JT, what was your first year here? What was that like?
97, and I don't know if I'd ever ridden anything like quite this rocky and hard and slippery, and just it's a very unique surface here. And when you're not prepared for it, I grew up in Florida in the sand, and it was different. I didn't feel comfortable. Obviously I was very cool with the aura and the lore of Unadilla, but the track never really felt that comfortable for me. As the years you adapt your skill set, you get better, you work on your weaknesses and all that, and I kind of figured it out. But I just remember how difficult it was to ride here, and remember by then, by 97, the days of cutting in grass and how all that mulch that was all gone. It was down to the base, it was rock hard, it was slippery, so it was a totally different field by then.
Well, and it was still the original layout per se, right? So sort of the classic layout. The track's changed a lot here lately. It's been opened up a lot. Speeds are much faster. The tree turns different and little bits and bobs here. And I mean, there's just massive jumps on the track.
Yes.
Now and back then. I mean, the massive tabletop here. Has this thing got a name yet over here?
Sky Shot.
So Sky Shot. There was a dog leg before it, and you dropped off, right? It was slowed down before that.
Okay.
So, but one thing I think that's interesting about it now is for those of you that haven't ridden this track, here, there's a lot of rocks in that soil, and the roost hurts. And especially at the higher speeds and everything now, like it's hard to get out of that roost. At least back then when it was slower, you're off the gas a little more. There's some switchbacks and stuff where you can kind of move out of the way. Right now, I feel like the guys are just in it, like full
just
roost.
eating it.
Yeah. Bad start to 450 Moto is not a great place to be. I can tell you. I promise you.
Oh, yeah.
He'll tell you by experience.
Yeah, Fro, you were much better at just leading and doing the roosting, getting out front. That was your key.
I've won some motos here. I think I won the overall once, but there were plenty of motos where I got my ass kicked here. And this is one of those tracks where when you don't start off the day and you don't have like the right rhythm and like that flow and all this, it's like you hit every bump on the track.
Okay.
But when you have it, it's like it's smooth, like it's no problem. That was easy. But when it's bad, it's bad. It just accentuates all the weaknesses in your chassis setup, your suspension, your lack of training, like stayed out, didn't sleep well last night. It all gets amplified here.
You know what?
You know what I'm talking about.
I do all too well. It's my only experience, actually. It's really my only experience. It's crazy. Like, I don't think that TV can really ever do it justice, and I haven't heard it talked about enough, but going up what we would call it screw you. I don't know what the political.
I think the official, the wall.
Is it screw you?
Yeah,
hey, Bondo ain't letting you call it screw you on the show.
Maybe not tomorrow, but
you
we're
do
doing
it in the monster
rig.
rig.
Yeah, we're doing it
here.
here.
Screw you as much as you want here.
You
turn. But
turn.
on Mav TV tomorrow, we're calling it the wall.
Hey,
okay.
The second moto though, you can't see anything coming up that. Like the sun kind of drops down and it casts a shadow over it. I remember going up that thing completely blind every single lap, just like. Here we go.
And it would get like these gnarly ruts and a big like cup at the end, and the sun's coming down, and you're like, you're running with him in 10th, and you're getting roosted. You know what I mean?
Congrats,
like,
JT. Running with Fro.
Yeah. I don't think that was. I don't think that really happened.
Yeah, so it's kind of a double, though, over the top of that.
Yeah,
trying to get
tabletop, essentially.
But you're trying to get at a certain spot.
Well,
you're trying to land at a certain spot.
Honestly, every time I would go up it, I literally just kind of braced myself for whatever I might hit. Because you have to, like, get loose but also hang on tight because you couldn't see the takeoff, right? So you didn't know if you were going to kick or jump smooth or cross rut or whatever. So it was almost like grip really hard with your knees and be prepared for whatever's about to happen because you really can't tell. It's just one of those, like, hidden kind of detour dangers.
And the track was a lot drier back then, and the wall
well done
was really loose and powdery and rocks and stuff coming up. I mean, I feel like I watched the previous race here, and I feel like the track prep was really good, and that was all just kind of clean all day long. Where in our day it was not good.
Well, then what started to happen is it started these long ruts, dude. Remember there was one year where I think Kennard and Roxon and Dunge had an unbelievable battle, and they're in 100, 200-foot long ruts. That kind of evolved a little later, right? It wasn't that unbelievable slot car rut. That became the thing for a while, JT.
Yeah, and the track's changed a ton, right? When like I mentioned the first time I was here, how hard it was, and there was really no soil to speak of. It was just kind of down to the base. And then go to kind of flash forward. With a bunch of years, you heard all the complaints by Carmichael was not happy with the track, and I think he was right. He didn't really. I don't think his messaging was correct. But I think his point
correct?
His point was well made. It's like, hey, we need to do something about because what made Unadilla great is now gone. Like that's not here anymore. And then you flash forward to I think 2011, 2012. They brought in all that topsoil again, and it really restored. I think the reputation of this place, where everybody's like, no, it's pretty good now. Like there's actually traction.
Well, the sections down in the bottom were epic. The dirt down there was good, but on the top of the hills on all the crests. But, hey, I think it was somewhere around 93, 94 in there. They started letting all these yahoos race on the track on Friday and Saturday. And you guys would mess the track up for us. And Sunday would roll around. And we would start the first lap of practice for 125 practice, and the track was still from the days from the previous day's racing.
Yeah.
And all the amateurs, that's all you guys. You make all the bumps in the wrong spot, and the track is crap.
Corners like an L, like this.
Yeah. The lines are, I don't know where you guys are going when you make the lines. I mean, it was horrible. But then we'd have to start out the whole pro day like that. So
it's okay to boo Fro now, too.
Thank you very much.
If you want to boo Fro now, he's taking shots.
You guys want to boo me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling the truth about you guys now?
Yeah. They break earlier for the corners.
That's
now,
right.
We got a local. We're going to bring a guest on here. We'll have Dylan Fernandez a little later in the show, but let's bring in a local who's probably not actually raced this track because that's how Unadilla works. Let's bring on New York's own Nick Romano. We're going to bring him to the stage. Yeah.
Oh, here, you're going to need a seat.
There you go. So Nick Romano, it's your first full year racing the Nationals. He's even got it. He flipped the switch for the headset. But this is the key.
No, it doesn't move. You just got to roll that thing around.
A lot of riders get their home track, and it's a track they grew up on. That's not the case, I'm sure, for Unadilla. Maybe you raced on the other amateur track, but have you ever raced this thing before?
No, never raced.
Never?
Really?
Yeah,
no way.
And how far, away from here?
I'm about 3.5 hours.
Oh, yeah, so you're
traffic,
local.
But yeah,
Yep.
pretty local.
Did
And
you do
never
some
ridden
others, though, on the U2 track?
You know, I never really raced it a lot. I came here, I raced here twice, and I was like 4 or 5 years old, 6 years
No way.
old. So I
tons of
haven't-
experience then.
Yeah, right.
Have
I've
you
been
ever
here-
played it on one of the video games or anything?
No. I've been here almost every year to watch, but I've never really raced here.
What
a
was your
lot, so.
favorite race that you watched?
Growing up?
Yeah. Here.
Yeah, here. Let's go with that.
How old are you now?
17.
So deflating.
That was great.
Oh, my
That was a great
God.
response. So are you stoked? Like, obviously, you're just pumped to race in general, but is there a little something extra special knowing you're coming here?
Yeah, I think so. Just being in New York, and I'm going to have a lot of friends and family here. So, just the vibes have been all the time today, hanging out, looking at the track, seeing all the fans here. So, I'm excited for this race.
You guys pumped for Nick Romano to be in action here for the first time? Yeah.
Dude, can you imagine this crowd tomorrow when he hole shots Moto
When?
1?
When he hole shots.
Yeah,
When he
you
hole
have
shots.
to. It's your hometown
Yeah,
race.
come
So
on,
you
man.
got, you
I
have
like
to.
it.
Go out. The bikes are, their bikes are like 275 cc's, I think, now is what
the
I'm
equivalent of,
so,
yes, horsepower-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you pumped on the track in general? Like, does it seem like, I want to see what this is like?
Yeah, I think they're putting a lot of water down right now. It rained last year, so it was super ready last year, and I've been watching it back a little bit. So, no rain in the forecast, so we'll see how it develops. But it's going to be the local upstate New York tracks, rocky and ready. So, but no, I'm excited. It's going to be pretty technical, and I'm up for it.
Sky shot? You got something planned for that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I can't tell anyone, but.
All right, he's got a plan. He'll put in a show for you guys. Hey, we're just glad you're racing. Give us a status over the last couple weeks. You had a big one not that long ago.
Yeah, so Millville had that pretty good crash, second moto, and then, I ended up skipping Washougal. Just got pretty banged up, and the team and I didn't think it was smart to go out and race Washougal and, possibly make something worse than what it was. So this year is really just all about experience, and, like I said, I'm 17, I'm so young, and, I could have went out and raced Loretta's and A-Class and all that, but I kind of wanted to come out here. And my main goal was all 12 races just to get that experience for next year and know what it's like and all the tracks are like and all that. So, like I said, I missed that one race, but I'm excited for this one and the next three. And, I think if I can do all of, the next few races and get 11 rounds under my belt, I'll be pretty good for next year. So I'm excited.
So when you started at Paulo, was the plan to maybe do Loretta's, or was that just see how we did and then make a decision later?
No, we had the decision made up.
Okay.
I was going to race all of them. So, yeah.
The crash at Millville. Dude, that was nuts. It was like freestyle. It was like trying to do a whip train. You guys collided in the air.
Yeah.
That had to be a scary moment.
Yeah, it sucked. I was just a racing incident. Like, I scrubbed this way, and, he kind of leaned into me. Whatever happened.
that was on the finish line, right?
No, it was on those doubles going uphill, like coming out of that left wall jump, and then those two small tabletops.
All the way on the far side before
Yeah.
you go up the last uphill.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, it was just racing incident, and it sucked. We both went down. I got the worst of it, but it's all good.
Yeah, so you've been riding? You've been back on the bike?
Yeah, so I took the whole week off after Millville. Just recovered and did all that good stuff, and then we ended up skipping Washougal, but I rode the Monday right after Washougal straight back to the grind, 235. So,
Dude.
Yeah, I haven't missed much, just that 1 week.
I don't think the Star team lets people miss much.
Yeah,
They grind.
yeah. If you guys know Bobby Reagan, it's all about putting in the work.
That's right.
So speaking of the team that you're on, that Monster Energy Yamaha team, one of, if not the biggest team in the paddock, a ton of success. I got to imagine that the atmosphere, on the daily basis is always competitive.
Yeah.
Like, you're always competing and gauging yourself off of your teammates.
Yeah.
Now, for you being the young guy, you get to see, okay, these are the guys that are winning, so a good way to gauge where you're at. But, I mean, are there days where it's like you go home with your tail between your legs, or are there days that it's like, okay, I feel like I stepped up on this day? I mean, is it kind of a roller coaster ride?
Yeah,
or what's the environment like?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Like you said, we go out there for our 35, and it's just everyone, balls to the wall. And there's days where I'm the fastest, and there's days where I'm, a few seconds off, and I'm just like, what's going on, right? So, but no, it's definitely fun training down there at the old goat farm, and the track's been awesome, and all of us go out there trying to kill each other just like a race. So, but yeah, no, it's fun riding like that, and doing that, every week. It's different at the races for sure, and that's what I'm still trying to figure out. But I guess you could say during the week I kind of got it figured out.
I heard that if you're at what was previously known as the Goat Farm, where Ricky Carmichael trained and developed his program there, and now the Star Racing Yamaha team, that's their place. I hear that if you're the last guy doing motos that day, that there's actually a ghost of Ricky Carmichael that comes out and is riding the last 35 with you. Hey, I'm just this is what I heard. This is what I heard.
If you stand in front of a mirror and say Genie, Genie, Genie in front of a mirror, Ricky pops out.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Starts ripping laps.
Yeah.
Genie Carmichael's out there with the pit board.
Well, Genie's not a ghost. That's just legit. Genie's still there, you told me, right?
Every day.
She's
Every
still
day.
working the farm.
Every day.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Hey, you're not so old. See, nothing's changed.
Oh, yeah.
You're good.
Yeah,
You're still
no, I
relevant.
am old.
You're still relevant. You tell when the Tahoe comes rolling up the road, you know you're in for it.
Yeah, I don't know how many miles the thing has to have on it, but it's still going. And yeah, Jeannie's out there. She's
Hey, I was there in like 95-ish, and she was still doing the same thing. Like just hammering us, do sprints, do laps.
Oh yeah.
You're terrible in the corners. Lift your leg up. Like it's the same routine.
Yeah, same thing. We go out there and we'll have a 35-minute moto with accountability, and if you don't get this lap time by that lap, then you got to restart. Or it's not that gnarly during the season because we kind of try to save energy and all that. But during the off season, she pulled me off 20 minutes in a 35-minute moto and said redo it. And I was
the key
no
is
way.
No way.
You got to sandbag.
No way.
For real, yeah.
You got to sandbag that sprint lap. That's the key. Sandbag the sprint lap.
But your other teammates,
but
you can't.
See, I'm not trying to blow out J Coop, but J Coop's good with that. But
okay.
With me, it's like
He's a veteran.
every time I hit the track, I'm wide open, right? Like I don't want to do any of that stuff, but yeah, it's hard to go out and she wants that lap time, then you come back out for the moto, and then you got to go 3 seconds faster, right? So it's gnarly. I like it, but it's gnarly.
Yeah, and Carmichael used to be notorious for like part of what made his skills so good was like not actually going in and blowing the turns out and all the ruts because he knows that Jeannie's going to keep him on the lap time.
Yeah.
So somebody would come out, somebody new comes to farm, starts blowing the berms out. You're getting your ass chewed out because he's like, hey, now
The
my
berms
lap
are
time's
gone.
going up.
I can't
But,
keep pace.
but we're talking 1 or 2, 3 guys.
Yeah.
Now they've got like, I mean, how many guys be riding at once? 8?
Yeah, 8, 7, 8, 9 guys.
The chances of those turns being good all the time, they're gone.
Yeah, and then sometimes the other training facilities come out, so there's 25 more guys, and it's just like you almost got to finesse it because later in the day she still wants those times, and the track's completely gone. So it's tough, dude. It's tough.
She still has not learned this part. The track changes. Nope.
No,
Still
she's
doesn't-
learned. She doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Do it or go home.
That's great. So your story is crazy. I was talking to you about this last year at this track. Like, okay, not only have you not raced here, but like you literally grew up in like the least motocross style place you could live in America.
Yeah.
Like, tell everybody your background.
Yeah, so background, I grew up in Bayside, New York. It's down there in Queens. Grew up with, so there was Englishtown that was about an hour and a half away, and then there was a place called 10th Street MX out in Long Island where I mainly rode. That was an hour and a half too, and that's, without traffic. So, it's crazy, go to school, and then, my dad would pick me up halfway through the day, and we'd rip out to that track in Long Island, or, on Englishtown on Wednesdays, they'd have their open ride days. We go out there and just skip school. So, it was crazy growing up with limited tracks around, but, in New York City. So, but no, it's cool looking back at it now. It's
You just rip up and down the street now.
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely made the most of your time. If you knew, okay, I'm only going to get to ride this one day, you're going to make it as quality as you can.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So there was a famous golfer. I don't know if it was Sam Snead or Ben Hogan, but one of them was coached by his dad. And when they'd go to the driving range, he'd get something like 5 balls to hit. So he'd practice swing 100 times, but the only actual balls that you're going to get to hit are going to be these 5. So he had to make it count, right?
Which in a game, that's how it works, right?
I use more than 5 when I play.
I'm just saying, once the game begins, they count.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You got to make it count.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something to
making
that.
it count.
Yeah.
Romano's making it count.
So did you actually live like straight up like apartment, like in the city, or what was it like?
Not like in the city. I'm on the outskirts, but I mean, Bayside's technically New York City still, so it's out there on the outskirts. It's just house on house on house on house. So we got our house, and then there's a fence, and then there's another house. So
how did you get into motocross?
Yeah.
What you know?
I don't know. My dad rode for fun growing up, or not even growing up. He got a first bike when he was like 30 with some of his buddies, and I guess I was born. He got me a dirt bike.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Cincerillo. He watched it on TV and went, "Hey,
I want to try that."
Try that. That's pretty rad. Yeah, because I imagine your friends at school and stuff did not have dirt bikes.
Yeah, I had no idea what those were.
Yeah.
Like they were all jealous of me, getting pulled out of school at 12 o'clock at lunchtime, being like, "Where's he going?"
Yeah.
Like I'm going to ride.
Yeah, that's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But you have told me that maybe it's helped now because you weren't riding 5-7 days a week when you were a kid.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely helped me for sure now. Like I'm not burnt out. I love riding. I love racing. It's just it's my life, and I think some of those kids that grew up at a training facility, riding Monday through Friday with gym and all that, 12 months out of the year, I think it would hurt them, and I'm glad I was with those kids because it's love it more and more every day.
It's cool.
Oh, that's great.
All right, Nick Romano, thanks for stopping by. Let's hear it for Nick Romano. First race at Unadilla tomorrow. Let's see how it goes. Look forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, good luck, man.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, we got Nick Romano on here for a few minutes. That's awesome. We'll still bench race about Unadilla. Later in the show, we'll bring Dylan Fernandez around.
Give him one more round of applause.
That wasn't good enough. Wasn't good enough. Thank you, Fro. Thanks, Fro. That was nice. So let's talk this series here a little bit. We are locked in for really what's been an all-time epic. You don't get series this close week in, week out very often, JT. It has been phenomenal.
Yep.
Well, he had the killer stat on our TV call.
Let me share it now.
Share it. Why not?
Was Sexton having the best season of anybody ever in second place? Yeah, it's pretty.
He's got more points.
Tomac was that guy.
He had that same record 2 weeks
stat,
ago. Yeah.
Until he got the red plate,
Yes.
and now Sexton's just like, okay, now I'm that guy, right? It's, I don't think it's anything they want.
No.
But it's still impressive, right? So I think it just goes to show, because for so long, and Fro, you weren't here, but like every week we're just like, Tomac, because he had won 9 motos in a row. After the first moto at Washougal, he had won, 5 overalls, 4 overalls, whatever it was. So everything was about Tomac, and you're just like, well, hold on a second. Like, Sexton's been amazing, right? He had the red plate most of that time, but Tomac was stealing all the headlines. So we kind of had to, like, pump the brakes on everybody getting so deep into Tomac's how great he had been because he wasn't even leading the points up until most of that. So I think it's kind of flipped now where it's like, yes, Tomac's your points leader. Yes, all this, but man, like if you don't talk about both of them, you're really doing a disservice to the series because it's truly been about 2 guys the whole time.
I want to hear from this crowd right here. So, are you guys feeling Eli Tomac tomorrow? Okay, who's feeling Chase Sexton?
Oh,
who's feeling other, like the rest of the field? Who else you got? Anyone? Roxon?
We had it, Roxon. Chad Reed. We had a Chad Reed vote.
That's good.
Long shot.
See you at Cardiff?
You never know, actually, with Chad. Well, I'm glad you mentioned it that way, Jeff, and good job getting the crowd engaged with the show. You're doing a better job than I am.
He's a hype man.
Instead, I've been watching the shows here. And
we don't have this at other races. We don't have Fro pumping people up. Yeah, it has become a 2-horse race, and you've told me about this for 15 years. You've been talking about this on these shows. When it comes down to 2 guys for the title, they just find that extra level, and no one else is able to hang on because the prize is right in front of them.
Yeah, it's hard to put into words, but you start to believe and you start to look and see the light at the end of the tunnel and that trophy and the number 1 plate's there, and you're thinking, okay, I'm in a position for this. So, like, I just remember when you start to get into that zone and that mindset, it's like every minute of the day you're focused on that. And there's something that translates onto the track. And, yeah, we've got great competition, all that. But when the 2 riders are going for the title, they just seem to drop everybody else.
But I think too, like even if you don't get a start, we've seen Sexton not get the starts every single time. It's almost like they have tunnel vision for each other, and it's like everybody else is like, okay, get out of the way. Like I know Jason Anderson, you're crazy good. You won 7 Supercars. Like everybody else just move. Like they look right past them, and I think it's like this confidence boost to. Before, like say Sexton a year ago, or if he wasn't on this form, he would struggle to move past those guys, and there would be a battle to get there. Now it's just like, you guys got to get out of the way. Like I've got something going on, and I've got a guy, this number 3 guy I got to worry about, and he's in front of all of you, and you can just see it. Like you see them just blow past these guys in a way that they, maybe Tomac, but not so much Sexton has ever done.
Yeah, and it's a belief that you have that I don't belong back here in 10th or 11th. I belong there. And so you ride to wherever your belief is. I mean, how many times have you seen a guy that's a 10th place guy start 30th and get a 10th? The next moto he starts first.
Can relate.
Starts first, he gets a 10th.
I hole shot it here.
Well, why is that?
I hole shot it here one time, and I got 17th.
JT, you hole shotted it right.
What did you get in the other moto where you didn't hole shot?
16th. So, yeah, it's just the same thing. Like, I didn't ride here very well, but it's the same thing. Like, you either work from the back, get to where you're supposed to be, work from the front, get to where you're supposed to be. Same thing. But I think what you're saying is it manifests itself, right? They believe they're supposed to be at the front, so it doesn't matter where they're starting, they're getting to the front.
Yeah. And it's led to spectacular racing because, okay, so they've broken away from everyone else, and then they've been stride for stride, especially the last 4 motos, going back to Millville and Washougal, JT. It's been unbelievable. It's starting to almost look like road racing where the gaps are so short between the bikes.
Yep.
About a second and a half is the biggest gap they've had in the last 4 motos.
Yeah, they've really – I mean, could you imagine if one of them wasn't here or one of them had hurt thimself or one of them wasn't on this form? It would be a runaway. Yes. It would be absolute domination. And I'm sure Tomac's looking at the series going, man, how easy this would be if this guy hadn't come into his own this summer, right? It would be complete. All you would talk about is Tomac. He'd have this massive points lead, and we'd be searching for storylines. Instead, we have this, great championship that hopefully goes the rest of the way.
Do you think one of them has a big mistake in him?
Well, that's Tomac said it weeks ago. You're waiting for someone to blink, and obviously, if you're going to put money on it, Tomac's been there and done it. Yes, Tomac has had, as we call them, the weirdo Eli motos before, but even those are 6th or 7th. It's been years since you've seen Tomac completely have a day where he just scores 0 points.
In his last couple of years, he definitely has matured and is lessons out.
He's never won here, though.
Yeah,
like
we'll get
never,
So Unadilla, we'll get to Sexton in a minute, but yes, Unadilla, he's had some of those bad ones. It hasn't been the same level Eli Tomac. He's usually the best guy at this track in particular.
Well, you think about 3 titles in the 450 class.
Yeah.
And then other seasons where he was great but didn't win the title, and you're like, you never won here? Like, 2013 on a 250, long time ago. Like, some people out here weren't even born. But I think when you look at the historical dominance of Tomac, like, he's getting into the upper echelons of record books now, and you're like, you don't even have a Unadilla win, right?
Yeah.
So that's something.
So the door's a little open. But at the same time, Sexton, look, we've seen Tomac, as you say, mature. He doesn't tend to throw it away anymore. Sexton has proven over these first 9 rounds that he doesn't, but we've certainly seen in the past some big moments for Sexton. So that's the question. Is the countdown on? Is it going to happen? Or has he finally eradicated that? That's a big step.
Yeah, I feel like Tomac is the guy to beat, and so the interesting thing is to see each week or each moto which Chase Sexton is going to show up.
Yep.
And so far, he's found a way to limit those types of big mistakes these mental mistakes that he's made in the past. And, that's what you do when you become champion is that season you find a way to limit those mistakes, overcome, the obstacles and the things that always sort of plagued you. And think about it, if we get to the end of this championship and Sexton is holding the number 1 plate and en route he beat Eli Tomac, where I would say Eli Tomac is as good as he's ever been right now.
Right, that's where I was. You'd say exactly the same thing. If Sexton finds a way to pull this off, right? And let's just assume Tomac's going to win more motos and overalls before we're done. I feel like that's a fair assumption to make, okay? Even if he didn't, Sexton would be able to say, hey, I beat Eli Tomac in a year where he won 9 motos in a row and 5 overalls. And 5 overalls in a season, and I still beat him.
Yeah.
That's what he's up against.
Yeah, it's both a blessing and a curse. If Sexton pulls it off, it'll make it all time. But it's sure making it tough on him right now.
But the last time we were here, neither one of those guys won a Moto. I think Sexton got a second. Tomac had a third in a
11,
Moto. But they were
maybe,
both
like
horrible, like flip-flop results. And it was HRC Honda's Ken Roxon that just walked away from Buddy. And I think, like, with that sort of track record here, temperature is going to be awesome tomorrow. It's not going to be super hot. I feel like all of that plays into Ken Roxon's hands. Now, he's been a little bit hot and cold this summer so far, but he's that guy that has that ability that if tomorrow morning he wakes up and goes, you know what, I think I'm just gonna go win today.
Yeah, it's true.
He can do that.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's a mystery wrapped in a riddle with him.
Yeah.
We don't ever know. And he was sick at Washougal. We found out after the Ks, but there were other days this summer where we were just like, I don't know what that was.
If we just had a good, pit reporter, trackside person
to
that
really
could pull
get
those
stories
stories.
out.
You think I go ask him, hey, what's going on? He's gonna just gonna open the briefcase and
A
tell
real
me
reporter
everything.
could do it. A real reporter
Right,
could do
right,
it.
right.
Yeah. Will Christian, get her out here.
Got it.
Get her out here. All right, we're going to take a quick break on staging area. We'll be back, and again, we will not wrap this show up until we get Dylan Fernandez, who I believe he stays on the track. Yeah, he's getting worked on. He's got a lot of things. He's
getting his hair. He's getting the mullet.
Does look impressive.
Set right.
But
he
they have the
literally
physio. They have French guys have like the physio.
physio,
We
yeah.
don't really have that kind of doctor. Like there's a lot of things they do. It doesn't even exist in America. This kind of
Physio.
doctor. So
they're thinking ahead. All right, we'll be back. We'll get Dylan Fernandez on the show. Stay with us here on Staging Area.
At Lucas Oil, we take pride in creating problem-solving products to make your car care easier. We protect your vehicle and make it run longer so you can focus on the things that matter most. Whether it's commuting to work, visiting a loved one, taking the kids where they need to go, going to the big game, or anywhere life takes you, Lucas Oil is committed to getting you there for all of life's important moments. Lucas Oil, it works.
Who's it going to be after 30 minutes and 2 laps?
Heart rates are absolutely pinned right now.
It is on right now. Map TV live coverage. Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. How can you not respect the grit, the heart, the effort? Chet Lawrence is the 2021 Lucas Oil Pro Motocross champion.
The Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Series. This year on Mad TV.
We are back in his staging area. We're on the Monster Energy stage, and that guy's trying to give us a beverage, but it's too far away. And now I got to wait till 7 o'clock so I can finally access that thing. Jason Wygant, Jeff Emig, Jason Thomas here. We're breaking it down here from Unadilla. So we're mentioning riders coming back from injury. So Dylan Fernandez is back. They're actually setting the sag on his race bike. He hasn't touched that thing. I talked to Dylan earlier. I forgot. It's not just he missed the opening rounds of this series. He has not raced since March. Because JT, remember, he hurt his wrist in Supercross. Yep. He has not raced in
thumb, right?
Well, he hurt his wrist in Supercross, then the thumb. So I forgot. He's had back-to-back injuries. Yep. He has not raced in almost 6 months.
Well, we talked about it when I think it was at Arlington, maybe Detroit.
Yeah.
One of those middling Supercross rounds. We saw he cased the jump, and we're all texting, as we do. And I'm like, he doesn't look right to me. Like it wasn't. I watched him case the jump, and it wasn't anything severe. And I watched him roll through the next section and pull off the track and go to his mechanic. I'm like, that's not good because that was like capitulation, right? It wasn't like he just hurt himself really bad. I need to pull off. It was just like something's not right here. I'm done with this. I gotta get something fixed. And then we find out he takes the rest of the season off. Then he goes to press day at Fox Raceway and hurts himself the first day and is on a plane to France that night, right?
Yeah.
So it's been a really tumultuous 2022 for him. He had not been going that well in Supercross already. So I think for him, more than anything, he just wants to get out here and prove to everyone and himself that he's still your reigning Lucas Oil Pro Motocross champion, Dylan Fernandez, because he really hasn't lived up to that billing in 2022.
Yeah, and gets a chance to ride with the number 1 plate.
Yeah,
right?
that's cool,
he
too.
Hadn't done that in the 450 class. And, I mean, it's crazy that he just had such an amazing summer last year.
I know.
I mean, he's got on that roll. And
2 in a row, really. I mean,
because of the 250 win. And then when everything just starts to get derailed, right? Your confidence is high, your fitness is there, everything's good, and then boom, 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 and next thing you know, you're on the sofa watching the races from home.
Well, and I talk about this a lot on podcasts we do and things, but momentum in this sport is really underrated, and it's really hard to define. I don't think unless you've been there, and sometimes you don't even realize you're in the midst of it. But you have your base fitness just continually improves year after year, and you're getting better and faster, and you get the bike sorted out, and everything keeps clicking, right? Dungey was there for a long time. Tomac's been there, and you don't have anything to really get you off of that. And then you have this big injury, you take a bunch of time off. It's really, really difficult to get back to where you were. And I really feel like most guys take it for granted because it's just, the train just keeps on going down the tracks. So for Fernandez, he's not only got to try to find his old form, he's got to ask the question, is that old form from last summer good enough to go with Tomac and Sexton? That's another question.
That's the
altogether.
ultimate question, really. Yes. What level are they on? Would Fernandez have been right there? Would he have been ahead of it? We'll never know. But I can guarantee you this. When I first started asking the Star team about, will we see Fernandez back? I think it was Southwick I asked them. And they said, oh, yeah, we need guys to get in there. So their hope, maybe not for the first race this weekend, but over these next 8 motos, they would love for him to steal a couple positions away from Sexton here and there. That is a tall order, though, with the level those guys are on.
Yeah, I mean, that always, on paper, that's how you'd like to work it. And even, to be honest, there should be some other riders that should be able to get
right
in
here,
the middle of these
Green
two.
21.
A bunch of them. But like we just talked about here this last half hour is how when you're battling for the championship, you just find another level. And, I mean, think about how difficult that is for Fernandez now. This will be his first pro motocross of the summer, and he has to step right in when guys like Tomac and Sexton are literally at maybe the peaks of their career. Yep. And so he's going to have to match that. So
he is catching a little bit of a break with the weather, though, right? If you're looking for a way to ease your way back into this series and maybe have a good day, 75 degrees is going to help, right? It's not going to get pushed to the level of fitness like, hey, yeah, it was pretty fast, but, I mean, Tomac and Sexton are 9 races in or whatever it is, and, yeah, they're at peak fitness, right? So that might help him a little bit. I think another one, too, is the start. Can he get the start, right? He's been so hit and miss over the course of his career. I can promise you if he doesn't get a good start, he's not going to see Tomac or Sexton all day. Like it will not happen. Those guys have been lights out on the start.
Well, when he rides past the podium, possibly.
Right, exactly, yeah. So he's going to have to – I don't even think it's a fair ask. To be honest, I don't think it's a fair ask to come in and be like, hey, I'm going to be in the battle between those two. I don't think that should even be the goal. I think get out there, have a good morning, get as Jeff said earlier, kind of get the flow going, get your rhythm going so your confidence starts building, and then first things first, get a good start, and then just take it as it comes, right? He doesn't know where he's going to fit in. He may be not even able to keep up with Anderson. We don't know. I think he's going to be asking himself questions all day long. But as far as the Tomac Sexton thing, if that's the expectation, to me, that's a mistake. I just think you're setting yourself up for failure. It's just too much. It's too much to ask right now.
It's at least the hope. I don't know if that's the expectation.
You want to win. Yeah. I get it, right? He's a champion. Yeah. I know he wants to win.
And by the way, that came from the team, not Dylan.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. I would hope that someone is in his corner going like, you don't have to win this race. Like, we just take some baby steps, right? If we're there and we're in the race to win by Paula, that's a huge step. But I'm a big believer in realistic goals, right? If you set a goal that is unattainable for a weekend, it's always going to be disappointing, right? So I would think and I would hope that it's like, let's get back in, let's have a positive weekend, let's build back, because he's going to get there eventually. He's going to catch back up.
Yeah.
I got bad news for everybody. I said we will not end this show without Dylan Fernandez coming by, but the physio is still working, and he's not going to make it. So the only way I can say –
everybody an apology.
I know.
Remember,
right here. Yeah.
He promised you he was going to be on.
I gave you my word. So the only other thing I can do, because I said this show won't end until he comes over here, we could just keep this going until 7 a.m. tomorrow. You want us to do that? We just keep it going, because he'll be at the track in the morning.
We're going to need
you need to be here.
Food and alcohol.
Well, we got – I got energy right here. We're good.
Plenty of Monster right
here. So sorry, everybody. I'm
Zero Ultra.
My word is worthless around here because I said we'd get Fernandez over. The physio showed up late. He's getting the physio now, and we've only got 20 more minutes for our show.
Happens when you get a guy from New Jersey on here. Right?
Hey, what are you going to do?
We're in New York.
Hey, what are you going to do?
Forget about
what you're going to do. So I did talk to Fernandez. We were over there talking to him earlier. He said the thumb, it's still an issue, the strength. Not the pain, but the strength. But fitness-wise, and it's interesting how the schedule works, Jeff. You could talk about this. He actually feels maybe fitter than he's ever been. So you can talk about what it's like to – he's basically been able to just build and build and build and build, not travel, not worry about racing on weekends.
And he's talking about his off-the-bike fitness, right, when you're training on the bicycles and all these sort of things. And that's great. That's great when you don't have the seat time. But like, bike fitness or your regular, like, bicycle fitness versus like your motorcycle fitness, it's different because now you have to ride and race the motorcycle, and it's not just a straight, cycling session where there's 100 other elements that come into play that you have to manage. And so I call it being in bike shape. So he's in bicycle shape, but he's not in bike shape, and he's going to have to kind of race himself into that mindset and into that fitness there. But, I was watching the last race here, and one thing, it seemed like the track was, like, epic, like prepped really well, and really wasn't that rough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's some ruts and stuff on the track. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's still difficult, but not like I've seen it in the past. And that may work to Dylan's advantage if it's not just super rough and nasty and all that, if it's a little bit easier to ride. So we'll have to see how it shapes up.
Another thing I want to watch tomorrow, and I'll be down with with cameraman, and I'm going to be on top of this. I want to see what these guys go for tire choice, because that's been a theme all season long. Tomac's really leaned on what we would call scoop tire. I think it's the MX 14,
I believe.
And he loves it, right? He's been when I've asked him about it, he's been very defensive. And the first moto at Spring Creek, he used it, and I didn't feel like he was riding his best because of it. And he was like, no, you're wrong. There was other things going on. I'm like, okay. So I want to see if he actually chooses that, because it's going to be really borderline here, right? I think first practice they go out, I think he uses it. He'll use the berms, use the loam, but that's going to be a deteriorating, environment all day long. And I think he's the only one that's going to be asking that question, can I still get away with this tire? But it's something. Like, it's been a storyline, because to me, when you look at his starts, you can almost trace back to every single time he's had that scoop tire on, his starts are like spot on. And in the races where he has it, there's only been a couple. There's been some good, some bad. It's not immediately worse, but it hasn't been as consistent.
And I look back, sometimes I think back on some of the choices during my career and the different things that you do where you're just splitting hairs, right? Lowering the sag on the back of the bike 2 millimeters, and all of a sudden the thing's brilliant. Before I couldn't ride it, and tire choice and the little things that you change, 3 clicks on the shock or something, and that was the difference. So I was 5th the first moto, but I won the second moto because we, tightened the rebound.
What the heck?
3 clicks, and you're like, that's insane that makes that difference. But and you get that feeling and that belief that, hey, everything just sort of clicks when you use a certain tire or a certain shock or whatever, gearing and things like that. So,
and I think part of why Tomac was so defensive with me, because it was an honest question. Not only that, his team manager Jeremy Coker was asking the same question of him back at the pits, and we were talking about it in the tower together. But I think, to your point, I think he was so defensive because he didn't want me to knock any confidence off of that choice, right? He's like, nope, this is the tire. This is what I've been winning on. There was something else going on. It wasn't that. And to show you, watch, I'm going to come back and use this tire again in the second moto when the track is even harder, and he went out and won. So that's where I think it came from, is that these guys' confidence, like, they don't want anybody negative, anybody questioning, like, no, I'm on a roll right now, and don't you dare talk to me about what ifs and what could possibly knock me off this perch right now.
You think he went back to the Star Truck and he's like, I'm going to shut that Jason
I think it's just
Thomas
JT.
up.
Yeah, I think it's just
I'm gonna
JT.
tell you.
It's just the way he treats him.
No, I talked to
I'm
Coker
going to prove that
the
guy
second
wrong.
moto in the tower,
thank you.
and he's like, did he say anything to you about the tire? I'm like, yeah, he wasn't pumped. He's like, yeah, he yelled at me too.
All right. Okay.
So
Okay.
He was like, I was like, whoa. I just asking because I think I set him up, and then Coker came in, and he was just like, get out of here.
You're like,
Yeah,
I'm just
already-
reporting on it. I'm not part of the
You
story.
did the pre-interview for the real
Yeah,
questions.
I set Coker up bad.
Yeah, exactly. So a couple other guys we got to mention coming back. Fernandez, that's a big story. Believe it or not, everyone, believe it or not, this is a true story. This is going to happen. Malcolm Stewart is racing tomorrow, barring something crazy happening. I don't know.
I saw him and his dad
Yeah.
at the credential tent. He's
It's
here. He's
unbelievable.
He's
outside.
here.
We got any Malcolm Stewart fans out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of them.
He has not raced pro motocross since 2014,
It's
JT.
unbelievable.
That's crazy.
I haven't raced since 2012. I should
You're
just sign
almost
up.
his contemporary.
I should
Gosh.
sign up.
That is nuts. 2014, he's not raced outdoors. And come back.
And you know what?
time.
He was probably in the 250 class.
I think
Right?
he did
Top
a
10?
few one-off
10.
450 rounds on
450s?
Geico.
He would do some.
Yeah.
Yeah. Top 10. That's a good question. I always got to say, people call these top 10 things. The only way you can really do it, I'd have to look at Well, who are the guys that he would have to beat to finish in the top 10?
You look at okay, Bloss has been that 9th and 10th place guy.
Yep.
I think that's reasonable, but you also have to figure, okay, Fernandez is back.
Yep.
Dino's back.
Another one
and
back,
Mookie's back, right?
Yep.
So now you have 3 guys. So
wait, who's the third one's back?
Dino.
Said? Yeah, Dean.
Fernandez, Mookie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's going to get tougher. But I think he should be top 10. Like, he's crazy talented. This was a podium-level guy all of Supercross.
Best that he's ever ridden.
Absolutely.
Like really,
Most
really
consistent,
a high level this
no
season.
crashes, all that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, does he get third? No. I don't personally believe he'll be on the podium. But I think, 5, 6, 7, 8, first race back. First race in 8 years. I think that's fair.
These guys want us to talk about the 250 some, but I do want to mention Ryan Dungey had a heck of a race going.
He did.
He got robbed.
He did. Yeah.
And is there any Dungey fans here? Can he pull out a podium or like a moto win here at Unadilla? Yeah? Maybe?
The podium, I feel like that is just right
okay,
there.
Can Dungey get a podium?
Podium. Hey, podium.
Can he win a moto? Can he win a moto? Oh, she's over there, horns in the air. Okay.
Okay. I'm not sure if
All
she
right,
did cheer for
all
Dungey.
right.
She's just pumped on life.
Hey, so
Like, woo!
at Washougal, right, Dungey gets a whole shot. He looks really poised. I honestly thought he was going to get a podium in that overall for the day if that doesn't happen. Well, he's headed back to the semi, right? Everybody's like, oh, what happened? What happened? Well, I'm doing this pit reporting thing, and our producer, Bondo, is like, you got to go talk to him. And I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea, Bondo. He's like, you got to go. So we go over there, and he can see me on camera standing there like waiting. He's like, you got to go ask him. I'm like, He's like, you have to go ask him to talk. And I'm like, I don't want
him now.
I don't want to. And he's like, do it. I'm like, fine. And he of course, Ryan Dungey's all class, right? He's patient, nice, all those things. But I really, really did not want to start that conversation.
But he was okay, actually. He was.
He was fine.
Yeah.
He was totally fine. Yeah.
Hey, I did pit reporting for Supercross in 2002. We're at Vegas, the last race. So I'm pit reporting, okay? And Jeremy McGrath it was the first year ever that he didn't win a main event.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And our producer, I'm standing outside of McGrath's rig, okay? He's screaming at me, telling me to get,
Of all people, you have to do
me
this.
of all people. So I'm like,
way.
hey, Larry Brooks is the team manager. I'm like, hey, Larry, my producer really wants to get an interview. I'm talking to Ann McGrath, which is Jeremy's mom. Hey, Ann, I really need him to come out. And he was like, he's bummed. He don't want to come out, especially to talk about the fact that he didn't win a race.
Talk to his biggest rival ever.
About
not winning.
And needless to say, I didn't get the interview, and our producer was yelling at me so bad. I got done with the night. I walked into the production area. I threw my stuff down. I said, don't you guys ever ask me to do TV again. I'm never doing TV again.
Okay. Man of your word.
See how that went.
Yeah.
Hey, I said Fernandez was going to be here.
But the point is us being writers, we've been there before. And Jason's like, I really don't want to.
He knew, right? He got the whole shot. Washougal was a historically good track for him. Everything was set. And then it gets stolen from him, right? It's just.
I think it'd be cool
tough.
if we see Dungey on the podium or even grab a moto win. Maybe.
What do you guys think
Don't you?
He's just saying top 5. Top 5 all day long.
He's going
Bro
top
is just
5.
going, whatever the fans are going to cheer for, he's going immediately.
Yeah, he's
More beer! Yeah!
That's what we call cheap heat in the business. It's cheap heat.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
hey,
man, I was feeling it.
Hey, Unadilla, best track
Yeah,
out there.
Unadilla.
Unadilla, everybody, best track on the circuit. Yeah, they love it. They love it.
You said that last week.
I mean, I just read it. It's a note right here. Washougal, great last week. So let's talk Motocross of Nations real quick. So when I talked to Fernandez in the pits, he will not be here for our show, by the way. I'm just reminding everybody that I was a liar.
They're all thrilled.
Jason promised you.
Yeah. So I
We're
said,
going to be here all night.
promises
It's
right
fine.
here.
I said, hey, at least you have 4 races to get some racing under your belt. He said, really, he's just building for next year. And he's like, well, maybe one more. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dylan Fernandez throwing his hat in the ring. He would potentially – he left the door open if he's terrible at these races that he shouldn't be on the team. But he would like to do Motocross of Nations. We thought Team USA would be announced here. They're holding it to next week. Now, look, we know Tomac and
just
Sexton.
tell them.
Well, we know Tomac and Sexton.
You know,
we know
Jason.
Tomac and Sexton.
I don't know that it's so done.
So here's the thing. This is interesting. They held it a week. Because I believe if it is Christian Craig for sure, they just announce it now.
Yep.
So why would they not? It has to be the Justin Cooper factor.
I think they may go with 4. Go with 4.
Just
Let's see
announce
how this
4
thing-
guys.
Yep.
Whoa.
These are our 4. 3 of them are going to be racing.
And in the case of if it's Craig or Cooper, it's the same bike anyway.
Yep. And I think we also have to, we don't want this to happen, and I don't even want to say it, but injuries happen in this sport. Things happen, right?
Yep.
It's just a part of it. And what if one of those guys hurts themselves? Hopefully not badly. Hopefully it doesn't happen at all. You need another guy that's ready and hasn't been like signed off for the season. You know, so
that's when I call Ryan Dungey.
Oh,
anybody want to see Ryan Dungey on Team USA one more time? We got support for that.
Cheap Heat.
Jeff, you're ridiculous for the cheap heat. My gosh. So I think they're trying to buy some. That's a good idea. Keep them both engaged for sure. But it all made sense. Yep. And then Cooper goes out and wins the last moto we've had in the 250 class at Washougal, and now they've had 2 weeks to sit on. What if we announce Craig at Unadilla tomorrow at opening ceremonies? What if Justin Cooper ends the season with a huge win streak? It'll be the dumbest move ever. Yep. So they're buying themselves some time.
Yeah, and what JT's talking about is going with 4. Okay, going with 4. The 2 Yamaha riders that would be on the 250 with Craig and Cooper, they're going to train and they're going to stay focused and stay engaged because they're on the team. If you go, okay, Craig, you're on the team, Cooper, something happens, we'll call you. Well, where's his mindset at? He's like, all right, well, I'm going to the lake. I'm going to go fishing today.
I'll be at Cabo on Labor
yeah, you know what I mean?
Sunday.
And then Craig gets hurt, the day before you leave. And Justin, can you jump on? He's like,
no, I'm not even sober.
I'm at Cabo right now. So I do like that. And the French, who had an incredible run in the 2010s, that's what they would do. They had a 4-man team. They all worked together as a team. There was a lot of continuity, and everyone was working together. Showed a lot of success. So I think that'd be a good plan.
And I think too, and I have to give credit to Paul Parabinos because he's been working and coming up with these ideas, and that was a possibility. But I think also another factor of that is, you have these 2 for the 250 spot. Well, if Tomac or Sexton something happened to them, Christian Craig could ride the 450 as well.
He's
right
so
in there.
He's
there. He's been on the bike. Everything works in place. You put Cooper on the 250, and there's continuity. Like it's just like, okay, that sucks, but we have a plan in place. Everybody keeps working. Because you go back to thankfully we won, but 2007 when Ricky got hurt at Glen Helen. We had all this commotion, right? It was just panic. Nobody was ready. So you just avoid that wild card scenario.
Yeah. Got to wonder what the atmosphere is though between Cooper and Craig riding at the same place, working out of the same truck, and essentially being head to head.
If you're not looking for competition, you're in the wrong sport.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, and to be fair, the 250 competition has been pretty exceptional this year in our
It has, except we don't have an American rider in that battle. So they're hoping Cooper gets there. But yes, between the 2 Australians and the rider out of Japan, Jeff, it's been good, man.
Yeah, obviously Jet Lawrence has been the cream of the crop. Hunter has been right there knocking on his heels. And you got to think that it's your little brother that's been one-upping you a little bit. That's got to be the driving force, right? Sitting around the dinner table. And, hey, Hunter, you mind passing the mashed potatoes like I passed you yesterday?
Pass me that red plate and the potatoes.
I got dinner. I got a win bonus. Don't worry.
Hey,
I got a nice win bonus.
Do you think that's what Dad – you think they've got it set up to where, if you're leading the points, you actually get a red plate for dinner?
Oh, just to really drive it home, yeah, exactly. Yep.
No, I don't think they wouldn't do that at all. They don't seem like the types that are really going to drive the needle.
No, they don't make fun of each other. No, they don't get into this case. But
it is a great story, though.
Let's be honest. He spotted everybody in entire moto, and he's back to an entire moto points lead.
Not his fault, right? And I personally, I'm very fortunate. I get to see these guys right when they come off the track. As soon as they pull in, helmets off, you get raw emotion. There's no hiding it. They don't get to regroup and compose themselves before they have to go talk. You can see Hunter's pissed. He is not happy. Yeah. He does the right thing and says the right thing on the podium, and I give him a ton of credit because he's able to turn it on like that, and be amicable and joyful, whatever. But when in that moment, when he first gets in there, he's not pumped that his little brother beat him again and he lost more points and all that. It doesn't matter if it's his brother or someone he's never met before. He's not thrilled. It's you can see it in his face and his actions. And even at High Point, that epic battle, you could see it. He was like, oh, yeah, you're my brother. I love you and all that, but get out of my face right now because I just lost again.
Yes.
Right? And there was a moment at Spring Creek, and we've talked about this a little bit, but when he was on the podium, he had a really bad second moto. He got dropped. He said he was tired. I think he got 5th in the second moto, but way back.
He was leading, and the race got red flagged, so he was frustrated for sure.
30 seconds down. I don't want to say it was acceptance, but it felt a little bit like I don't know what I have to do to beat this guy that happens to also share my DNA. Like, I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what to do because I'm riding the best I've ever ridden. I'm having the best season of my life, and I just can't beat him. He goes 4-1, 2-2, 3-7. It doesn't matter, and he still wins. What do I have to – the guy's bike broke at Redbud, and I got 22 free points, and I still can't do it. And I know he would probably never admit that, but I could see it where he's just like, I don't know what I got to do here. I don't know what – and sometimes it's just your year. Sometimes it doesn't matter what anybody else tries to do. Things are going to go your way. The chips fall your way every single time, and you're champ. And Jeff, I know you've seen that too. I've heard it.
Yeah, it's crazy how sometimes you think, okay, I got him today. I got him.
Okay.
And then something happens, and all of a sudden, you pull off. He won the overall again with the 2-2. You serious?
Yeah.
Stuff like that happens. Or,
Yeah.
Or no, he won overall with a worse finish than that.
He's done it every way possible.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Yeah,
like, it's like
one or something. Yeah.
I started calling him, I think I called him like a mathematical wizard at Washougal because it's like you're inventing mathematical ways to win this thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you're clutching victory out of the jaws of defeat every single weekend. I mean, and that's not even the weekends he's riding well. Like, he's like been so on those weekends and winning.
Yeah, and that's a confidence thing, kind of going back to one of our comments earlier about the feeling of belonging and the belief of, okay, I believe that I should be here, and you ride to that place. And especially as you start to get through the summer, everyone's kind of slotted out. A majority of the riders finish here, a majority of the riders, the kind of similar results. And if you're back in 10th, he's like, well, I don't belong here, right? But if the guy that's 10th is up front, he's like, well, I don't belong here.
Yeah.
It's a strange way how that works.
It is funny. I definitely agree with that. You subconsciously, the field gets into like packs, and you race the same guys all summer. It doesn't matter if you get good start, bad start. You're just like, okay, well, I'm going to be racing, like guys like Heartraft and a few of these guys are together. And then there's another group, and it's just like, it's almost like F1. Like, I don't know if anybody ever watches F1, but they have like the elite guys that all race each other, and then like the midfielders, and they're not racing each other. Like, they're not even worried about each other.
No.
Like, for me, when I raced, I didn't care what Fro or Carmichael, I wasn't racing those guys. Yeah, we started on the same starting line, but they're gone. Like, I was racing Nick Way and Ryan Clark and a bunch of guys. That was who I was concerned with. I think it's almost the same way where those guys like Jet and Hunter and those guys are up there, and then you just find this pack. And if you find yourself in that pack, you're like, I don't belong here. Like, I'm lost. I got to get the hell that way.
Yeah.
It's working out for him.
And in MotoGP or F1, a lot of that seems to be based off of the equipment.
Yeah, sure.
And you'll see like the teammates finish in the same position, right? But this thing with Jet and Hunter, I mean, they have the same equipment, and they've got that sort of one-on-one battle that we're kind of seeing where Sexton and Tomac are starting to separate themselves from the field. They're doing this. They're brothers that ride for the same team, right? There's all these crazy dynamics to it, and it's great to watch. And the rest of the 250 field, Cooper is coming on strong. You got kids like Romano that are ready to step up. I mean, the 250 class has been really exciting, but for sure, I mean, Jet's got to be.
It's a big day for Cooper. Big day, right? Yeah. If you want to be on Team USA, if you want to be taken seriously again as a winning level contender in this class, you've got to follow up from Washougal at your home race of Unadilla, and you got to get it done. Like, that's just what it is, right? And if he doesn't, I think you're going to see Christian Craig announce and all of those things. That's fine. I get it, but tomorrow's a very big day for him.
Plus, also, there's a season in with Cooper saying, I started the year, I was coming in injured, but by the end I was back to that level or not. That's a big, thing that
that's going to be
about.
Decided for him tomorrow. I think, right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he wins Fox Raceway. Great, that's fine. It's too late by then.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, but I mean the fact that Cooper had that injury at the beginning of January, external fixators, all kinds of stuff in his foot. And keep in mind, when it's on your foot, like even doing any cardio, here we go.
We got a dog on stage. Cheap Heat. Who here likes dogs? Who here likes dogs? Works every time.
Cheap. What do you call it?
Cheap Heat.
Getting the crowd fired up with easy stuff.
Dogs, puppies, all that, like babies. But Justin Cooper, for him to go from the injury that he had, and even to be speed-wise, I'm not even talking about his fitness, which is the big part of it, but to be able to get back up to speed, and to be off of the bike, and keep in mind, like you're off the bike, and because of his foot injury, doing any serious cardio and any fitness
Yeah.
is. I
You need
mean,
like that
I mean, what's the on the
ergo
pedal?
one?
Like,
Yeah, that's it.
Like,
That's all you
I mean,
got.
but what?
He's going to do so much.
Yeah, and so that he's worked himself into this, position where he's at right now, where he's won a moto. Fitness is there, all that. I think it's really an incredible story that he's made so much progress in such little time. And if a spot on the Motocross of Nations team is his goal and what is his driving force and his why, and every day he wakes up and he's focused on that, then, hey, we're all the benefactor here. And Star Racing, Monster Energy, Star Yamaha team is, they're better off for it. So, yeah, I mean, and him being from up in this neck of the woods also could definitely be a fan favorite.
That's it. Who's going to challenge the Lawrence brothers? There's a lot of motivation for Justin Cooper to be that guy this weekend. That's our show. That's Jeff Emig. That's Jason Thomas. I'm Jason Wygant. We'll see you in the broadcast tomorrow. Thanks for joining us at Unadilla one more time. Get some cheap heat.